Let me explain it first, or my case study, or?
Nah, we know.
All right, Mr. Kent. I just went and did your outside inspection, and there's just a couple things that I'd like to go over with you.
Okay.
First, I know you're a handyman yourself, and you could probably take care of a couple things around the house. Let me show you a couple conducive conditions that I saw that just are worrying to me, and maybe something you should think about. This right here, the wood pile right by the garage. A lot of people do it. It's not thought of as a big deal, but in the termite world, having it that close to the foundation of your house would just draw termites to your house. And also, you have a crack right here. As you can see, termites can get in anywhere between, in any crack, and it's the size of a business card. So it's definitely something that's worrisome. What I would propose on that is just to move it about 5 or 10 feet away from the foundation of the house and get it up on a rack just so it's not on the ground.
Okay.
Alright. Now there was a tree right here that was overhanging the house. It's not a gigantic deal, but I did see that your gutters were kind of clogged. Maybe just something to think about, getting somebody out there to trim the trees back and get the gutters for you too.
Never thought about that.
Yes, sir. Alright, now on this right side of the house, right by your air conditioning system, there's actually a drip line that runs right along the foundation of the house. Not a gigantic deal, but because it's dropping off that excess moisture into the ground, that just creates another conducive conditions that will draw termites. Because they really like moisture and they like cellulose. So if you have both of there, they will be coming. Now on this back side right here, it's a little bit of the same thing. That downspout right there, it just goes right into the ground. You don't have a drop catcher or a gutter catcher or anything like that to kind of direct it away. So you're doing the same thing, just kind of pumping that water into the soil around the foundation of your house.
All right.
And it's something that I really didn't even see at first, but this is actually a piece of termite-infested wood. So, wasn't really looking for it, but just goes to show you that, there are termites everywhere. We live down here on the south. There's everywhere between 8 to 20 termite colonies on every acre. So, it's not if you're going to get termites, it's a when.
Okay.
One more thing. Alright, that's actually right outside the basement door. It doesn't look like termite damage to me, it actually looks like moisture. So just something to kind of look at. A lot of the times with the bottom of that, see how there's a gap there, is eaten away. And so your common pest that has an easy access into your home.
All right.
Now, those are all things that, you as a handyman can fix yourself. But termite being our specialty, let me show you a little bit about what we can do for you.
All right.
I did a good inspection of your home, and I do hate to tell you that I did find some active termites in your crawl space. I'd like to go over a couple of those findings with you. So, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but this is actually a termite tube. It shelters them, and it's their way of getting into your home. They're subterranean, so they go from the dirt all the way up into the cellulose material. So that's a pretty big mud tube there.
That's in my crawl space?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
This is in your crawl space. And what worries me also is that, there's cellulose material down there. You could have had termites down there either way, but because of the wood and debris and stuff like that, it's just going to draw termites to them. You really need to have your termite technician and your termite provider get that cellulose material out for you. Now, I know you're with somebody else, Mr. Kent, and I'm not a pushy type of person, but I just wanted to let you know how we could take care of this termite problem for you.
Yeah, how are you
Is that
different?
something you'd be interested in?
How are you different?
Exactly. Now you can see already from the level of inspection that I did that I really take this job serious. It's something I care about, and I'd like to say my company does the same thing. Let me show you a little bit how we'll take care of this problem for you, and then I'll go into how orchids differ.
Okay.
Everywhere you see those orange bubbles, I know it looks like you don't know what it is. Let me explain that to you. Everywhere that you see a 12, well, where the soil meets the foundation of your house, we're going to dig a trench 6 by 6. We're not going to come in 6 inches by 6 inches.
Okay.
We're not going to come in with a ditch witch, and we're not going to tear your lawn up. We're going to come up with a pickaxe. It's a hand tool, and the technician will actually dig that trench 6x6, fill it with our product, and therefore protecting your house. Now where you see the 42s, we're actually everywhere where there's soil around your house, we're going to be putting Centricon bait stations every 8 to 10 feet. What they actually are is an insect growth regulator. Stops the babies from turning into the workers and the soldiers that cause damage and do the reproducing.
Alright.
So therefore, you have all that on the outside of your house. You got a dual process protecting your home from the outside. And we don't stop there, we go inside as well. Now what we're going to do down here, because there is active damage and it needs to be taken care of, active termites, and it needs to be taken care of accordingly. That infested wood down there that I showed you, not the stuff on the ground, we're going to get rid of all that. But the support beams, we're actually going to drill and treat that.
Okay.
Now over here, since you have those tunnels, we're not just going to leave those tunnels so they still have the access points into your home. We're going to scrape those off as well. Now because you know how your foundation is actually hollow block, and there's a hollow center to it. Well, because termites can commonly use that as a entry point into your home, we're actually going to drill that and treat that as well.
Okay.
Now this is all from the inside, so you're not going to see it. With that, we're also going to trench and do the same thing that we're doing on the outside of your house. We're going to do that on the inside of there too.
Sounds thorough.
Yes, sir. So you can, I think there's one more. And we're also going to foam the wall. It's a dry foam. It's not going to mess up your electrical outlets. It won't get anything wet, and it won't stain your drywall.
Okay.
Does that sound like something, the level of protection that you're looking for?
I definitely want the highest level of protection.
Yes, sir. And a lot of the times with termite protection, because you can't see the things, it's all about who's doing the service and what they're looking for and the level that they're looking. I really feel like you'd be happy with this. What I'd like to do is go into, there's a couple other problems that I found. If you don't have any other questions on this, I'd like to go into them as well.
Yeah, what else did you find?
So I got down up in the attic, and I don't know if you're familiar with the R values or anything about insulation.
I heard something about it on TV.
Yeah, the Department of Energy down here in the South, they recommend an R value of 60. With the loose fill fiberglass insulation that you have, it has an R value of about 2.5 for every inch. So you're sitting at an R value of 15.
Okay.
So definitely not where you need to be.
All right.
The good thing about it is that with Orkin, we can actually, ours is actually 3.8 per inch. And I'd like to tell you a little bit more about just how different our insulation is. Alright, now this is what I was telling you about the R value. You see we're down here in Memphis, so you're at a recommended value of R60. So I was telling you about the R value. This is the white stuff you have up there, the loose fill fiberglass. And this is actually what we put in, 3.7.
Alright.
And the difference with ours is it's actually infused with boric acid. So
Acid?
I know, yes sir, and it's the great thing about it, I know acid, people are thinking, oh Lord. The good thing about it is the only thing that it targets and kills are pests. It's not harmful for you or your family.
Okay.
Let me show you a little bit of why. So it's actually infused, our insulation is actually infused with that boric acid. It's natural boric acid, it's occurring, it's permanent, you don't have to run it off gas, and it actually just dehydrates from the insects from the outside in.
Okay.
Safe around your pets and family, and the insects can't build a tolerance for it. It's found in most of the cosmetic things that you use around your house, soap, detergents, found in food and drinks, so you can see how it's definitely safe for you and your family.
So I already have it in my house. Okay.
I just wouldn't suggest you go up there and roll around in it. That's the
Okay.
only thing I'd say. Kills cockroaches, termites, ants, silverfish. You can see it kills a number of different things. And it also could save you up. I'm not going to tell you it's going to save you 30% on your energy bills, but it'll definitely save you up to 30% on your energy bills. Now, what TAP stands for, it's what our insulation is called, is thermal acoustical pest. So the thermal, which is really important to me, and you seem like you care about your family and you really care about their well-being. Well, mice and rats love attics. Well, if they see a wire up there, they'll think it's a stick, and there's a good chance that they could start chewing on that. That'll cause a fire, and that loose fill fiberglass up there, that'll catch right on fire. The stuff that we have, it'll just smolder. I won't tell you won't smell the smoke, but it's almost like an early detection warning. Start smoking, you'll know what you need to do and get your family out of the house. Alright. So with the level of insulation that you have, you got about 6 inches. You do have some debris in it, but there's no rodent droppings or anything like that I found. So what I think needs to happen is you need to get about 12 more inches of insulation. It'll just pack right down on top of that, just condense it, and it'll bring you up to right around the R value of 60.
Okay.
Now there was one more problem that I found. It was actually in the basement. I started looking around. You know, you have a crawl and a basement. Well, when I got to the basement, I started seeing condensation on your copper pipes. That's what made me start looking around further. That actually shows signs of high condensation and humidity in the air.
Okay.
Now over here in the smaller one, again, you have the cellulose material down in the crawl space. What we'll do for you, we'll just get that, once we get this taken care of for you, we'll just get that out of your crawl space at no extra charge to you. And that vent right there as well, I'm sure over time it just popped out. I'll just have my guy put it back in once he comes and does the service for you.
Okay.
Now this is stuff that really worries me down there, Mr. Kent. Right around, I know you have a power vent down there. Right around this power vent, I actually got the highest humidity ratings in the whole crawl space.
Oh, wow.
I was at 81%. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but when you have that much humidity in the air, obviously you're going to have some moisture problems. Started looking around, and there's a good bit of fungal growth on the ground. Something that is definitely hazardous to you and your family. Can you imagine just the kind of health problems and structural problems that could cause?
Yeah, that's not good.
No, sir. This was actually in one of the worst spots right here. And honestly, this is something that needs to be replaced. We can always come and do the treatment for the moisture, but this particular support beam right here needs to be replaced. I'll show you why. This right here is actually signs of wood rot. I'm not an engineer, but I would absolutely recommend you getting somebody out here to take a good look at this piece of wood.
Okay.
And if you'd like, I've no problem taking you down there and showing you which one it is. Now, what I think needs to happen down there, Mr. Kent, is you familiar with the vapor barrier?
Yeah, my neighbors all have it.
I'm a big fan of those. Since you got such a big high level of moisture in the crawl space, there's a lot of moisture on the ground too. Well, once you have that reinforced vapor barrier on top, it's just going to bounce back the moisture right into the ground instead of sucking up into your support beams.
Okay.
With that, we're also going to do all the fungus and stuff like that I showed you. We obviously can't fix that wood rot, but what we can do is the Ultrabandine and Pro treatment. It's a cleansing. We remove the fungus, and also with the borate that I've added to it, it's actually going to prolong the lifespan of that wood. So it protects it from moisture and fungal problems in the future.
Okay.
Now, can you see how that would make a big difference in your crawl space?
Yes, definitely.
Yes, sir. All right. Now, I went over a little bit about what all I found in your house. Do you have any questions for me? Does all of it make sense?
Which is the worst one I need to take care of?
Honestly, I think in the basement.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, it's a big problem down there, but then when you get into the basement side of it, you know, you've had the termite activity was down there as well. We were going over a little bit about conducive condition, and I was telling you about moisture is a big one.
Yeah,
Well, when you have moisture in your support beams like that, it's just going to be drawn right to it.
makes sense.
I would say that the moisture and the termite is the biggest problems. I know you're under a protection, but I would like for you to consider, you know, looking at Orkin.
Okay.
Tell you a little bit more about what we use and the person that would come out and actually do this for you.